Number one for New Country, 98.1 KHAK. It is Braden and Courtlin, and we are very, very happy to be joined on the phones this morning by a very special guest. We have to say good morning and hello to Leslie Hess. Good morning, Leslie.
Good morning.
Thank you for taking the time and joining us, and we are letting you tell your story this morning because you were at the Route 91 concert in Las Vegas and watching Jason Aldean perform when everything went down.
That is absolutely correct.
So you said that you had actually gone to the concert by yourself, right?
Well, I was actually there with a couple friends, but they had left early. And so, yes, I was by myself. I had made friends with some people from California that I was actually standing with at the time.
Mm-hmm. And can you give us kind of a rundown of what happened? Because I think a lot of people, we see the news and we see the images, but we don't get to hear the firsthand stories and accounts from people who were actually there.
Yeah, what did you experience, Leslie?
Yeah, I was actually probably maybe 40 to 50 yards from the stage. Looking at the stage, I would have been on the left side, so to Jason's right. And there were a couple pops, and everybody in the crowd thought they were firecrackers or some sort of a firework. And all of a sudden, the automatic part of the firing kicked in. And a kid next to me said, "That's a such and such a weapon." And I looked at him, he goes, "They're shooting, run." And so I took off running. And as the shots were being fired, people were diving to the ground. And then when they would stop, people would get up and run. Mm-hmm. And I fell a few times, got stepped on and stuff. But again, I'm lucky. The girl next to me that was running next to me did get hit in the leg.
Wow.
But to be honest with you, at that point in the time, I didn't look back. I just kept focused on trying to get out of there.
How long did it take you to exit the concert venue?
I don't know. It felt like hours. But to be honest, I was probably out of there in just a few minutes.
Okay.
However, we climbed a steel fence with the prongs on top, and I got hung up on that, but was able to free myself eventually and got behind Tropicana and was going to go in there, but then at that point, everybody started running out of there, so I just kept going, and I was staying at MGM. And so everybody, again, not knowing where these shots were coming from, but they were still coming. Even when we were out of the venue, we could still hear them. And so we were basically trampling shrubbery and landscaping and running out into traffic just to get across. And we got into MGM. And at that point, they were locking down all the hotels.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And so I got into a back room, which I was very lucky in. A couple of the other people that had been at the concert, there were some cases of water in this back room, and we just grabbed them. We didn't care. We just grabbed them and started handing them out to people. And we were all comforting each other, and then they started to evacuate us there, and I walked up to this, I think he was a manager, his name was Justin, and he was a younger kid, and I said, "I have a room here. My husband's in my room. Is there any way you can get me there?" And, I was, obviously trying to be strong, but also breaking down because I knew I was blessed and that God had looked over at me and got me out of this situation. He was kind enough. He actually took me up a back elevator and walked me, actually made sure I got into my room and stuff. So I was there the rest of the night with my husband.
What was that moment like when you were reunited with him? And
I broke down. That was so thankful. I immediately called my son, who is from Salt Lake. He had been out to Vegas with us for the weekend, but had left earlier that day to drive home.
Wow.
And so, it was probably, I'm going to say midnight or so before I got back to my room. So we're talking a good couple hours later.
Mm-hmm.
Leslie Hess joining us this morning. Brandon Courtlin on KHAK. Leslie from Cedar Rapids was out in Las Vegas for the big concert. Heard the shooting start as Jason Aldean was performing on stage.
After this concert, Leslie, is this going to deter you from going to other big music festivals or concerts? Does it scare you, the thought of doing that again?
It scares me. It does scare me.
Yeah.
My physical wounds are minimal compared to what I'm going to have to go through.
Mm-hmm.
Leslie, something else that you were talking about, and we have talked about more off the air than on the air is there's been a little bit of criticism of Jason Aldean about whether or not he should have said something when he was on stage.
Yes, that bothers me. A lot of people can say, I would do this, I would have done this. You don't know what you're going to do until you're put in the situation.
Absolutely.
I don't even know that Jason really knew in the moment, too, what was going on. I mean, none of us ever would think that this type of an event would ever happen.
Well, no.
And they were saying he should have yelled, take cover over the microphone or something. They shut down his lights and sound as soon as everybody figured out what was really happening. Lights and sound were cut.
Yeah.
So I don't think you can criticize him. I feel he did nothing wrong. There's nothing more he could have done.
Well, I don't feel like there's any right thing to do in that situation.
No.
And I don't think that anybody who wasn't there is allowed to criticize any of the actions of people who were there because you don't know. You don't know
correct.
until you're in that situation.
Well, and let's be honest, he has a very pregnant wife who was backstage, and he was clearly worried about her safety as well.
Absolutely. And his guys rushed the stage and got him and his wife out of there, my heart breaks for those that were injured or not coming home, that didn't get the chance to hug their kids last night or tell their husbands or their parents they love them or anything, but we can't criticize anybody. I think right now is not the time for anger or hate.
No.
We all just need to, do good in the world.
Well, Leslie, we thank you for joining us this morning, and we're happy that you are safe and back home in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you guys very much.
Yes. Leslie Hess from Cedar Rapids joining us. She was in Las Vegas, witnessed what happened out there, and she is back home safe and sound. So 7:55, it's Brandon Courtlin at KHAK.